Ladies and gentlemen, this is internet personality Vangelus, and I feel no shame in saying that my first reaction to receiving Wave 2 of Combiner Wars was to beeline straight towards Air Raid and complete the Superion solution. But I also want to review the guy, so now that I've finished toweling him off, let's get videographic with Combiner Wars, Generations Transformers Deluxe Air Raid, who is in package right here, but soon will not be when we're going to take a look at his jet mode. Hey. Air Raid's jet mode is what I was expecting. A black F-15-ish thing with a big block underneath. The triple-colored wing and tail fin stripings are nice touches, and the silver cockpit windows are very on topic. It is sadly all in major contrast to the robo-mush stuck on the bottom, which means, from many angles, that stuff clashes like mustard on a birthday cake. There's no landing gear to speak of, but Air Raid does have 5mm ports under either wing, as well as a central port up in the top center position. The wings are tweakable along two axes, which does a lot to help bring the jet mode to life, while also flashing tons of vaguely hidden robot arm junk. Alright folks, we're here again, the Combiner Wars Deluxe Aerialbot transformation. Remember those arms? Remember those legs? Those unsandwiching, re-sandwiching legs? Those out and down shoulder access relocationings? The cockpit turning into a backpack? Air Raid does feature extra motion in his wings. Nonetheless, the challenge is clear. Transform all of the Aerialbot limbs blindfolded. Let's set some records, people. Using the whole chunk under the plane motif to his advantage, Air Raid becomes a rather striking red and white robot with a black backpack. The colors are blitzkrieg strong, and the backpack can look very unique, pointing mostly upwards and staying tight and tall for the sake of a clean silhouette. That said, you can also use the two-axis jointing of the wings to give Air Raid a wing pack like his comrades Firefly and Skydive, with the added bonus of way more tweakability for the sake of emotion and personality. Anyway, all of Air Raid's red and caramel colorations are solid, bold paint apps over his white plastic parts. Like his buddies, he turns the combiner port into an effective piece of chest detail. Also, like his buddies, he's got a boss head sculpt, taking a Scramble City peg head and plugging it onto a stern, heroic silver face with shiny bloom chrome dome on top. Air Raid's accessories are physically identical to Skydive's, just with some white plastic shot into the molds for his personal firearm and the joint of his hand-foot gun. It's nice to have a burst of extra G1 with the white gun, but it's kind of a bummer that it's the only one that isn't black and thus doesn't really work for adding some symmetrical thigh bulk to Superion's shins. Air Raid is a Combiner Wars Deluxe Aerialbot, and this is a song and dance we've seen before. He's got a ball-jointed neck, and he can't look up very far. He can look up a little bit, but it's still not Fireflight. He has to start deploying his massive mono nipple to do that. He does have ball-jointed shoulders, along with bicep swivels, and I was about to say, oh, it looks like these can move up on that hinge. They can't. The hinge only does that, which is useless for this posability, other than perhaps getting him to cross his arms a little and failing to do so. But he does have bicep swivels. He's got elbow joints, and at least on this one, they've got that very light, like, multi-nipple ripple detent effect. This one doesn't so much, but either of the elbows feels quite tight, with or without the detents. This is not Skydive all over again. No wrist joints, but a waist joint. Ball-jointed hips with a good range, thigh, swivel, 90-degree knee, and that's it. He's as posable as all the other Aerialbots. However, he feels really good, and he feels a lot better than Skydive. He poses a lot more solid-looking than Firefly. This guy is like the best of both worlds from his two Aerialbot bros. He does draw a lot more from Skydive, like he's sharing the legs and whatnot, but he feels the most solid when I look at him, just standing there all like he's gonna raid some air. Good on you, fella. Get center of the shot, thank you. Getting Air Raid into ARM mode is Skydive simple, with some decent tab and slot connections to lock his personal robot arms onto the bases of his wings. What this means is that the bulk of the wings can rotate up and down individually as you see fit, depending on your aesthetic preferences. Fins up, fins down, or one of each. It's your choice. Similarly, those rotational joints allow you to choose whether or not Air Raid's leg mode has a predictable and shred-kicking set of sharp edges near the foot, or a pair of eyeball-stabbing knee-lift spikes up by the connector joint. Air Raid's admittedly minor modularity in either limb mode adds a lovely extra spice to any combiner pie that you add him to. As the fourth and final mostly unique mold among the Aerialbot Combiner Wars Deluxes, Air Raid is not all that unique. He literally shares the front halves of Skydive's legs, not to mention Skydive's accessories. His adjustable wings add a ton, though, along with his incredibly strong color balances in both jet and robot modes. He's got Skydive's solid silhouette fused with Firefly's stronger plastic tolerances. In fact, Air Raid feels the best of all 4 Deluxes so far, and overall I've got to say he's my favorite one. It seems a little unfeasible for there to be some kind of production learning curve so quickly in Combiner Wars, but Air Raid comes off as the final product born of Firefly and Skydive's testing phases. Anyway, this has been Internet Personality Vangelus, and once upon a time, this is going to be the final chapter of my Aerialbot coverage for Combiner Wars. But things change, names change, numbers grow, the dead return, and a slingshot can win a war.